Welcome to episode 13 of the Best Day Ever podcast. This is a podcast about all things crafty and a glimpse into my crafting journey. But it is also where we celebrate why, even though life's not perfect, every moment spent crafting makes for the best day ever. My name is Trish, and I can be found on Instagram and Ravelry as Tie-Dye Diva. I will do show notes for this episode since it's been a while, and they will either be located below the screen or in the Ravelry group. Let's see, today is Wednesday evening, May the 22nd, and I'm coming to you from my home in the state of Maryland. Today was a very busy day. It was a work at home day for me, but as is usual, I find that my work at home days are even more busy, if not just as busy as when I'm actually in the office. So it's been a very productive day, and I'm ready to wind down and do a little crafting maybe before I run out and do some errands later on today. It has been quite a while since I had recorded an episode. I actually recorded an episode on Sunday, this past Sunday. And I'd done all the editing and uploaded it into iMovie, and I accidentally erased the original video from my content on my phone. And yeah, so I just no words, right? Anyhow, I'm here again recording another episode a couple of days later. It's all good. It's all good. So yes, like I said, it has been a while, and if you follow me on Instagram, and those of you who know me well know why, it has been an incredibly difficult time for myself and my family because of the loss of both my mother and my younger sister. And there truly are no words, no words at all to describe how difficult it's been. I will talk a little bit about that for those of you who aren't interested, who are just here for the crafting, and I definitely understand that. I won't go into great detail, but towards the end I will talk a little bit about some life updates. And I've also decided to add another segment to the podcast, and that is What's Cooking. I have been having a really good time in my kitchen, experimenting with some new recipes, some new quicker ways of doing things, and some new products and things that I have truly enjoyed. So I figured if I enjoy them, then hopefully you will too. So towards the end, we'll probably mix that all in with the life update and what's cooking. So without further delay, in today's episode, I will have a finished object in knitting. I will have, how many whips do I have? I think I got about 4 works in progress in knitting. I have one finished object in sewing. I don't have it with me because it was a gift and it's already been gifted to the recipient, but I'll insert a couple of pictures when we get to that. I also have one work in progress in sewing that I'm very excited about. And then we have some spinning, actually quite a bit of spinning to talk about. So let's get talking. So the first thing I want to share with you is my finished object, and if you follow me on Instagram, you have already seen this. This is the Hat Dana by Denise Bayron of Bayron Handmade. I believe it's Bayron. It's either Bayron or Bayron Handmade. So Hat Dana, as you can see, it's a combination of a bandana and a hat. and it is knit in a worsted weight yarn. I chose Plucky Snug Worsted to knit my headband, and the color is Pumpkin Patch. It's this beautiful orange. It calls for a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle, as well as a US 5, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. And what else can I tell you about this? This pattern was an absolute delight to knit. I'm sure all of us have had that experience where maybe we've been away from our crafting for a while, as I had been for, extenuating circumstances, but you have that desire to make, and you just want something quick and simple. This pattern definitely fits the bill. So it starts from the bottom up, and the tassels are put on after the headband is complete. It features a center spine that has cables, and those cables are flanked with just a little bit of lace work, some simple yarn overs, and then you end in this beautiful rib here. As far as pattern writing goes, this pattern, I very confidently can say that it is one of the top 5 well-written patterns I have ever knitted. She has video tutorials for so many of the techniques, like how to do the cable without a cable needle. She has a video for how to do the tassels at the end. And I also don't think that I mentioned how it features this beautiful ribbing on the edge here. Just like I said, a beautifully well-written pattern from a beautiful lady. I happen to think that not only is she an amazing pattern designer, but she's also so pretty. So definitely, if you have not already, look her up on Instagram, and she's doing some really exciting things. As a matter of fact, she has a new sweater design that is going to be featured in the new Lineup magazine. I believe it's issue number 8. So I'm so excited for her and so excited for that new design. It's a raglan sleeve cropped sweater. It looks very simple, but yet still stunning, because of course cropped sweaters are all the rage now, right? So definitely be on the lookout for Denise Barron of Barron Handmade. Love, love, love this. And I'm going to insert some pictures of me wearing my headband. I was able to wear it at Maryland Sheep and Wool a few weeks back, and the weather was really icky that Sunday, and my headband definitely fit the bill. So here are a couple of pictures with me wearing the headband. Okay, so like I said, that is it for finished objects. I did finish another sweater, but I'm gonna wait to show that to you guys. It is actually my Felix pullover by Amy Christophers, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love it, but it's a really woolly sweater, so it's all put away and ready to be worn in the fall and winter, and we haven't even gotten to summer yet, so I don't even want to think about winter things right now. So let's get into the whips that I have for knitting. The first one is a hat. I have had this hat on the needles for way too long. It is called Rafa's hat. Let me see if I can pull up this paper pattern. R-A-F-A. Rafa's hat. You can see I've had this paper for so long. And it's basically a just a ribbed hat with some sections of texture to break up the ribbing. Very simple, very easy to follow. It is designed by Joji Locatelli, and this hat too calls for a worsted weight yarn, knit on a US 5, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. I am using Cascade 220 Superwash. And let me see if I have the color band in here. I've got a lot of stuff in this bag, but the color band I do not have. So I will have to, I'll look in my stash and see what color that is. I actually bought this this yarn to make my husband a hat, but he said it looked too much like the Dallas cowboy blue, so he didn't want it. So I decided to make this for another good friend of ours who is very knit worthy. His name is Tony, and I've gifted him, I think, a couple of hats, and every season he wants a new hat. So in my book, to be knit worthy means you just have to love and adore all the things I make for you and wear them all the time. So if you do that, then you're knit worthy, and you will get many, many more knit gifts from me. So yeah, you can see the texture on there, very simple, potato chip knitting, I guess you could say. And I am, like I said, using a size US 5, and these are my higher. These aren't the sharps, just the basic higher. So just been getting to this when I have a chance to, here and there, in between appointments and life. And this is hanging out in my Fringe Supply fill bag, my orange Fringe Supply bag, which is my favorite of all the Fringe Supply bags that I have. And of course it is bejeweled with all of my favorite pins. This is a new one by Brown Girl Knits, who was Amanda, I should say, who was Brown Girl Knits on Instagram. And I just love this image right here. And I believe she's going to be coming out with some other accessories, some t-shirts and other things. So definitely be on the lookout for Brown Girl Knits. Follow her on Instagram if you like that. You can keep up to date with some of the beautiful things that she's doing. Okay, so that's the Raffa's hat. Next up, I'm going to share with you something you have already seen, and that is my Julie's wrap. So Julie's wrap is a large rectangle wrap, which has a border, has a ribbed border. So let me find a good picture of this to show you, and I hope it shows up. Yep, that's perfect. So there's Julie's wrap. You can see that the body of it is a huge rectangle knit and garter stitch, and there you have your ribbing, your twisted ribbing, and it's finished off with those cute little baubles. And you can also see that it has some points. There's several points that come out and give the shawl some shaping. So I love this. This is definitely my type of shawl, something that I can just wrap around me, and then it's knit in a fingering weight yarn. It actually calls for Tosh Merino Light, but I am using Neighborhood Fiber Company rustic fingering, which is very similar to Tosh Merino Light. It is a single ply merino, and the color that I am using to knit my Julie's wrap is Old Town East. And this is by far one of my most favorite Neighborhood Fiber Company colors. This is reading a lot bluer than it really is. It's more like a green turquoisey blue. It's picking up the color on my piece of art I have just behind me here. Maybe you can see a little bit more green here, but it's absolutely beautiful. And then you've got those flecks of really dark blue, almost looks black. So I've already got the body, the garter stitch body done, and now I'm working on the ribbing around the entire shawl. So it's kind of hard to show you what it looks like because I'm knitting in the round and I have a cajillion stitches on this needle. It just goes on and on and on. So I apologize that you can't see how beautiful this is, but this too is like potato chip knitting at its finest. I've already placed all of my markers for my increase sections that will provide the points at different sections of the shawl. And I've also, what was I going to say? Yeah, so all I have to do now is just continue to go around and do my increases in the proper places, and then I can move on to the bobble portion. So there's the ribbing for the edge. The pattern tells you to knit through the back loop and purl through the back loop. I personally really enjoy ribbing, and I don't mind knitting through the back loop, but purling through the back loop is just, it's not going to happen. And I don't know, I'm not sure exactly why she suggested to do that. I think this this twisted rib stands out quite nicely without it. I might actually do a small swatch just to see what it would look like if I did the purl through the back loop also. And let's see, what else can I tell you about this? There's the increase section that's going to provide some little points and dips in the shawl. It's got a little center spine, and I'm just increasing on either side of that stitch marker. So I'm just taking my time with this. It's about to get really, really hot. Spring, I think, has finally sprung, and the summers in DC are notoriously miserable. So this will definitely get knit while sitting under a air conditioner or in air conditioning, and I'll just take my time and get that finished up. So that's Julie's Wrap, again by Joji Locatelli. This project you have also seen. I showed it the last time I recorded a few months back, and it is another pattern by Joji Locatelli, and it is the Puntilla sweater. And I think I dropped my pattern on the floor, so I'm gonna try to insert a picture of what this sweater looks like here. So basically, Puntilla is a boxy style cardigan. Not cardigan, it's a pullover. It's a boxy style pullover with drop sleeves. But the beauty of this sweater is that at the edge of the sleeve and at the bottom edge of the sweater, there's a lace trim in a contrasting color. So I have completed the body of the sweater. I've completed the bottom ribbing of the sweater, as well as the top ribbing. Excuse me. So now it's time for me to pick up for the sleeves, and get the sleeves done. Like I said, this is the drop sleeve, and what I like about drop sleeves, I think they're very flattering. They're very comfy and cozy, but because it's a drop sleeve, a good portion of the sleeve is already knit. So I'm looking forward to picking up for the sleeve edge and seeing how long it's going to take me to get these sleeves knit up. And as I look at this, I'm taking a look at you can see this little streak of stitches here. Those are German short rows, and I'm pretty sure they're going to block out okay. German short rows is a fairly new to me technique. If you are like me and you struggle or used to struggle, or if you struggle with short rows the way I did, I highly recommend trying the German short rows. They are so simple, so easy, and just takes a lot of frustration out of doing short rows. So this is being knit in Plucky Knitter Primo Fingering. It's a one-hit wonder color, which means that there was something off about it, not quite the color it was intended to be. I picked this up when I was in Seattle at one of the Plucky events a few years back, and I was able to get enough to make a sweater. I think I had 5 skeins. So right now I have 1 full skein and this much left over. So I might be playing a little yarn chicken to try to get 2 sleeves out of 1 skein of yarn. I'm gonna weigh this carefully and distribute it between each sleeve and just get the sleeves as long as I possibly can. And so we'll just see. I might end up doing elbow sleeves without the detail on the elbow sleeve, because I'm not sure if the lace with the elbow sleeve is going to work. It might. I just have to really think through it. This sweater is also being knit on a US 4. And I'm saying also because I failed to tell you that the Julie's wrap is also being knit on a US 4. And I believe I'm using my highest for that, for the wrap I just showed you. And for this sweater, let's see, I think I'm using my Diet Craft needles. At least I used it for the body of the sweater. But because I don't have any 16-inch for the sleeves, I'm probably going to end up using these here. I think these are, oh my goodness, are these the Knitter's Pride? Yes, these are the Zing. These are the Knitter's Pride Zing needles. That's a US 3. So US 3 or 2.5 is what I used for the ribbing. Yes, 2.5 for the ribbing and a US 4 for the body. And this is hanging out in yet another Friends Supply. This is the Friends Supply tote. Nice, really nice size, large enough, more than large enough for a plus size sweater with lots of room to spare. And it also can double as a little handbag if you want to go out and carry your knitting with you. Okay, so that's Puntilla. Looking forward to finishing that. Another thing, however, is that Puntilla might end up taking a back seat. I may have to put her, not in timeout, but just put her to the side for a little bit and let her chill out, because like so many of you, I am dying to make a Soldotna crop top. I've seen so many beautiful colors. Look at the, follow the Knot House on Instagram. Let's see here. The Nice to Knit ladies, they have made a beautiful Soldotna crop. And also Sandy from Sandy by the Lakeside has been showing pictures of her Soldotna crop top, and I'm just, yeah, I'm caving. So I really hate to work on more than one sweater at a time. So we'll see, only time will tell. So let's see here. I think the last the last work in progress I want to share with you are these socks that you've also seen, but I was able to complete one. This is Quarry Fiber Tweed Sock, and the color is, I love having my computer here with me when I podcast, because everything is right here for me. So I started them from the top down with a 1x1 rib, and the color of this Quarry Fiber Tweed Sock is Flora. And these are being knit on a US 1.5. Like I said, they're just a basic top-down sock with a contrasting heel, and it will also have a contrasting, well, it has a contrasting toe, and it will also have a contrasting heel. These are going to be for Ray, my husband, because he is not afraid of color. I've already cast on for the second one, and I'm well on the way to finishing this one. I'm pretty certain I'm going to take these with me this evening when I run a few errands. So yeah, I'm excited about those. And here is the contrast color. This is Plucky Knitter. This is actually Bellow Fingering, which is their, I think it's their 55-45 Merino Cashmere blend. So I do have some concerns about these not having any nylon in the toe area, but I'm almost certain these are going to be more dressy socks for him. He'll probably wear these with some Oxford shoes and some linen pants or a linen suit. So it's not going to be like an everyday pair of socks. So I think we'll be okay. But I do have plenty, so if he gets a hole, then I should be able to fix it after he gets a good tongue lashing, of course. And this is hanging out in that Clever Clementine small project bag. Okay. I feel like I'm just zooming through this because I've gotten through my finished objects and my works in progress, and it's already time to move on to spinning. So I have been on a serious spinning kick. One thing that I'm working on, I'm going to insert a picture here that I didn't bring with me because it's still on my wheel. The spinning wheel that I use is an Ashford Kiwi. It is an older model. It's I guess you can call it a traditional. And what I have on that is a beautiful loop bat. It's hot pink, tan, black, golden, yellow, just a lot of beautiful colors. You know how loop bats are just really known for their highly contrasting colors, and there's some stellina, some sparkle in there. So let me just insert a picture here so you can see how that's spinning up. So I found that as I was dealing with the grief of losing my mom and sister, that I didn't have a lot of headspace to knit or even crochet, and definitely not to sew. But there was something so soothing about spinning, and that's probably why I've done more spinning than anything in the past few weeks. So I also finished this spinning project that had been on my wheel for quite a while. This is Loop Fiber Company Thin Wool, and I spun these singles up, like I said, on the Ashford Kiwi, and I think they're going to be beautiful applied together. So this weekend coming up is a long holiday weekend for the US. So maybe towards the end of the weekend I'll get a chance to get back on the wheel and get some plying done to get these all set to go. So again, that's Nest Fiber Company Thin Wool, and the color is Prost. I don't think I told you that. The color is Prost. P-R-O-S-T. Okay. So my spinning wheel is full with the project. I've already completed my singles for another project. So what else is there to do? You move on to an e-spinner that has been in your closet for well over a year. So that's what I did. I have had the Dreaming Robots electric eel wheel, like I said, for well over a year, and I think it was a combination of just being intimidated and being afraid to use it, and just life just being so hectic, not having the time to really devote to a new toy. So I finally pulled it out, and it's kind of funny because this was after going to Maryland Sheep and Wool a few weeks back and using the Ashford e-spinner, and I want to tell you, that thing, oh, we bonded instantly. I loved it so much, and if I had been just a smidge weaker, I probably would have purchased it, but I somehow calmed myself down. I said, Trish, calm down. Don't forget you have your e-spinner at home. You need to open up that box, and you need to figure out, do you like it, and how it works. And so that's exactly what I did. I came home, and in a few days I had it all set up and ready to go. There was a slight learning curve. Took me about an hour or two to figure out what I was doing wrong. Definitely no flaw with the product. It was me. So anyway, long story short, I got that electric spinner going. And let me insert a picture of the spinner here because I didn't bring it with me. So this is what I decided to spin up first. This is a bat, well, it was a bat, a hand-carded bat from the Colorful Flock. Oh, did you see that little sparkle at the end? This too has that stellina sparkle in it. And you can see the beautiful colors. Kind of reminds me of cotton candy at the top. So you can see how beautifully the electric eel wheel worked for that. And like I said, it was 2 bats in this package from the Colorful Flock. I separated out the other bat so that I can, just to prep my fiber a little bit to get it ready to spin. And this is what I usually do for all of my fiber. Just, you know, get those fibers separated out just to help me out a little bit as I'm spinning, make spinning a lot more enjoyable. So the goal is soon to finish up this bag, and then I can ply these together on the electric eel wheel. Now this skein here is the first skein that I actually spun on the electric eel wheel. And this is, it maybe not be that attractive, but I'm really excited about it and I'm proud of it because this fiber, I went to an open spinning and shopping event called Fibernate, not far from where I live. I live in Maryland, and then there's DC that it's like sits in the middle, and then there's Virginia. So Fibernate was in a little area called Vienna, Virginia. I would say about a 45-minute drive from my home with no traffic. So anyway, at the event, you could bring your wheel, and you could pay for a space to be able to knit, to spin in the spinner circle is what they call it, I believe. And it was so totally worth it. I think it was only about $25, but it included some gifts, some coupons for the vendors. It was such a fun event. And it was actually in the midst of and during the time that my sister was becoming really, really ill. My mom had already passed away, so my heart and mind was just so heavy, and I just decided to go because I definitely needed the diversion. And it was fun. It was really fun. But anyway, I say all that to say that while I was there, I was able to play around with the drum carder and do some blending of yarns. And this is what I came up with. I even put this little lock in here, and the lady who was demonstrating the drum carder was explaining how when you spin the locks, you don't have to you don't have to process. You can leave the lock just as it is. So that's what I attempted to do. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm gonna knit this. I'm gonna knit it up, maybe into a bracelet or something, or the edge of a sleeve, or maybe an anklet. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But that's my little attempt at processing and blending some wool. And it smells really good because I washed it with Tufts Woolens soap. So, like I said, the spinning wheel is full. The electric spinner is full. I've got things to ply. So then I decided to also pull out one of my spindles that I had never used. This is a Bosworth spindle. I just want you to take a look at how beautifully crafted this spindle is. It's very lightweight. It weighs about, I think I still have the card in here. I must have put the card someplace else, but it's a very lightweight spindle, and I am spinning up these poonies that I got from Gourmet Stash. I'm not even sure if Gourmet Stash is still in business. I need to, I'm going to look that up because I have a couple of Gourmet Stash products, and I love the way she would do her fiber prep to make spinning so much easier, especially when you are doing spindle spinning. So let me pull one of these ponies out so you can see exactly what I mean. So there's really no need to pull this out to loosen up the fibers, because they do it all on their own. They're just so, you see how easily that comes out. I don't want to pull too much of it out, but see, look at that. So especially when you're spindle spinning, it just makes it so enjoyable. And this wheel, this spindle rather, goes on and on forever and ever. Most of the time I have to stop it from spinning before I you know, if I've got enough yarn spun and I need to wind the yarn onto the cup. And speaking of which, look how nice that looks. I'm really proud of myself for taking my time to not just get the yarn onto the spindle, but to make it look nice and beautiful and uniform. This also has some sparkle in it. I guess I want a sparkle kick. That also reminds me of my sister Danielle, who passed away. Everything she did with sparkle. From her eye makeup to her clothes, even if it was just a casual day, she just loved sparkle. So I don't know, maybe that's why I'm just so drawn to all the sparkly things here lately. So yes, I am still very much enjoying my spinning. Like I said, it's been feeding my desire to craft, and also my soul and my need for peace and solace in a way that knitting or crochet or sewing for that matter doesn't do. So really enjoying the spinning, and hopefully in the next episode I'll have some finished yarn to share with you. Okay, so now let's move into sewing. So the finished object in sewing that I wanted to share with you, that I'm going to share with you, is a infinity scarf that I made for a coworker. It is very much like the one I have on, with the exception that this one that I made was just made from a basic quilter's cotton. And let me see if I can get this here so you can see the print. It almost looks like little bubbles, little pebbles, and little earthy colors. I love these because they're just a good thing to keep you warm and cozy. My office at work is freezing. If I'm not having a hot flash, I am usually freezing cold. So these are perfect. These are perfect for keeping you nice and warm without feeling too restricted. And of course, you know, sometimes knit and crochet items, as it gets warmer and warmer, it's just too warm to wear them. So I made my coworker Dari an infinity scarf from this beautiful fabric I purchased at my local Joann's. As you can see, they're just little Russian dolls, I believe, and some other little fun girly things. And she was so appreciative of it. She put it on immediately. She wore it for the rest of the day. She told me she had a meeting at her kid's school, and she got so many compliments on it, so she made sure to tell me that. And she even wore it again this week, a couple days ago. She wore it to work, so that makes Dari very sew-worthy. So anyway, because she loves it so much, she will probably definitely end up getting another one. And she also reminded me about these burp cloths that I'd made for her when she, for her baby shower gift, because she has a 2-year-old little boy who is so adorable. And she even talks about those, how much she loves those burp cloths. And she's still trying to figure out a way to use them. I mean, the boy's 2, he doesn't need a burp cloth, but she still wants to use them. So I thought that was really special. So I will insert a picture of Dari wearing the scarf right here. So, the work in progress in sewing I'm going to share with you is this. If you are a sewist, you probably have already made this. I'm the one who's behind on the times. And if you don't know what this is the dress number 2 from Sonia Phillips, who is the genius behind the 100 Acts of Sewing. The website, I believe, is 100 Acts of Sewing, and there you will find dress number 2, dress number 1, which is similar to dress number 2, but it's sleeveless. She also has a tank top, as no, maybe she doesn't have a tank top, but she definitely has a short sleeved crop, not crop. It's a top, just a basic top. It might be crop, but you know, you always have the option to make it longer or shorter. There's also pants as well as skirt. So basically very basic, what I like to call blank slate type patterns. Very simple, very easy, but this can go from simple and basic to absolutely stunning and drop dead and everywhere in between. I just love that there's so many possibilities with a pattern like this. You can do the pockets in contrasting colors. You can embellish them with lace or other embellishments. You can adjust the size of your sleeves. You can do something fun on the sleeves like a flounce. Same thing with the neckline. You can do some interesting things with that. Trimmings on the bottom. You can make it longer. You can make it shorter, like a tunic style. I do find this I've tried the one on I'm about to show you, and it fits really well, but cut to the pattern specifications, it is a bit shorter than a dress I usually would wear. So when I make my next one, I would definitely be lengthening it if I want to wear it as a dress. This one will have to be worn with leggings, because like I said, I like my dresses to hit me at least at my mid-knee, and this one hits me right above my knee. Or maybe I'll wear it on vacation to the beach with a swimsuit under it. Anyway, this is the fabric that I am making my dress number 2 out of, and this is from Joe Dewberry for Free Spirit. This is says a Westminster Fibers, and the name of the print is Lily Pads. So it's an absolutely beautiful print. I purchased this from the Loopy U quite some time ago. They had a really good sale, and I think I took all that they had, and my intention was to use it for quilt backing. But like I said, I've had it for a while, and I wanted this first dress to be like a wearable muslin, just to see, you know, what adjustments I needed to make. But I'm very happy to report that it will indeed be a wearable muslin, because it fits really, really well. I can show it to you, but there's really not a lot to show. I think I would be better off if I just get it finished and take a picture and insert it. If I'm not able to insert it here, it's because I didn't finish it before I recorded. But the only thing I have to do really is hem the sleeve. Of course, put the bias tape around the neckline, and this is the bias tape I'll be using. I made this bias tape quite a while ago, and as you can see, it's not a perfect match, but I think it'll be a really fun contrast. When the neckline is all said and done, I will include one of my personalized tags. It just says "By Tie-Dye Diva" with my little logo there. And I was able to finish all of my seams thus far with the serger. The pattern tells you to do a double hem, but I just finished off the hem with the serger and then did a single hem on the sewing machine. So you can see that there. And also my edges, all of the edges are finished on the serger. this is the thread I put in the serger when I first set the serger up. You know, everybody is so nervous about that initial setup, and I don't know why. It's really not difficult, but so 2 browns and 2 whites, and everything I've put on the serger since then has been serged with brown and white thread, because I'm still kind of nervous about switching it out, but that will change. That will change soon. So yes, I'm very excited about this. Very straightforward pattern. I did run into a little bit of problems easing the sleeve in, but not due to the pattern. Probably something with my seams not being quite the right size. So the pattern gives you the suggestion to do some, I think, basting stitches around the sleeve to, you know, pull the sleeve in a little bit, and then it allows you to ease that sleeve into the sleeve opening, and that worked quite well. I got a little bit of puckering in some places, but not a deal breaker by any means. And I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to sewing. Really none of my crafting. I just enjoy the process. And when I make other dresses with some of my more vibrant prints, like my African prints, mistakes won't even show, because it's going to be all about those beautiful colors, and I cannot wait to make more of these, as well as other Sonia Phillips patterns. One other thing I did want to share as a tip, going back to the infinity scarf, if you are new to sewing, or you want to start sewing, patterns like this are a wonderful jumping off point, and you can find a plethora of videos on YouTube to help you along with that. And if I remember, I will link to a couple of my favorites in the show notes. So let's move on into what's cooking. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may remember that a few weeks back, almost a little over 4 weeks exactly, I posted that I was going to start an anti-inflammatory detox diet. I kicked it off by doing a 1-day juice cleanse, which went really well. It was difficult, but I finished. And for the next 4 weeks after the juice cleanse, I did an anti-inflammatory diet where I eliminated all alcohol, including wine, coffee, dairy, red meat, and sugar. The first couple of weeks was I would say the first 10 days was the most difficult. The headaches from not having the coffee for the first couple of days were almost unbearable. But I said to myself, you know, this tells me that I need to detox. The feeling as bad as I felt would just confirm for me that I needed to do this. And even before starting the cleanse, my body was just screaming for it. When my mom and sister passed away, I was expecting the emotional impact, but I was not expecting the physical impact of grief, because I've never experienced grief like this before. And so I just felt emotionally and physically drained and just ill. One morning I felt so ill, ended up going to the ER. I could not get my head off of the pillow, literally. Every time I lifted it up, the room was spinning. I had a massive headache, and I felt really sick and nauseous. And no matter where I turned, it just got worse. So I just laid there, and it was so scary. So once the worst of it went away, like I said, about 30 minutes, I just had to lay there. I was able to get up, but once I got up, I was still quite weak, still quite ill feeling. So I called my niece, long story short, went to the ER, everything checked out fine. They diagnosed me with exhaustion, stress, dehydration, and anxiety, and I was probably having all those symptoms pointed to having a panic attack. So I say all that to say it was a wake-up call for me that I think I've been going so much the past. I know I've been doing and going so much in the past few weeks leading up to both of their deaths that I just was not taking the time to care for myself as well as I could. And when all was said and done, when they passed away, I was left to deal the with the effects of not taking care of myself. So I said, yes, let's do this. This is probably the worst time to do a detox, but yet the best time to do it. One thing that I also appreciated about doing the detox at this particular time, I think it kind of helped with the grieving process. I am very much a doer, a person who I just do and I go, and sometimes to a fault where I don't stop to get the rest that I need. When you cleanse, you become really clear in your thinking, and you don't have wine to depend on to help you get through a rough night, to soothe you. You don't have coffee to help wake you up. You're there with you and your feelings, and your grief. I should say my grief, and I don't think I would have grieved as much if I was still depending on the alcohol or the coffee. Not that I drink buckets of coffee and alcohol a day, but you know what I mean. I didn't have it, so I had to be there with myself, with my thoughts. And that was a good thing. That was a good thing, because you have to allow. I learned I have to allow myself to go through the pain, through the grief. It's not easy. It's by far the most difficult thing I've ever had to deal with. But the cleanse helped. It really helped me, and I do feel better. I feel much clearer in my thinking. I don't crave sugar like I used to. Let's see, when I don't, in the evenings, it was just a matter of habit to have a glass of wine with dinner. Now I think about that. Do I really want a glass of wine? Do I really need a glass of wine? And most of the time the answer is no. It usually ends up being a bottle of water with dinner, which means we're building up quite a hefty wine collection, because I've been buying wine, but I just haven't been drinking it. And I know all of my friends are like in the background saying, okay, we know we're going to Trisha's house. Yeah, so all in all, so happy I did it. I would definitely do it again, especially the juice cleanse. And I'm really excited about the prospect of taking better care of myself. I have to, because I want to be around for as long as possible to enjoy all the things and people that I love so much. I want to be around to craft and podcast and go to sheep and wool festivals and do all the things I love. And not just do them, but to have the measure of health where I can enjoy them. So I say all that to say, what's been cooking in the kitchen here lately are lots and lots of beans. In particular, Rancho Gordo beans. My coworker Lori, who is also a knitter, she's Mom Would Be Proud on Ravelry and Instagram. And she's partially responsible for my yarn snobbery and my yarn addiction, even though she says it's the other way around. But anyway, she and another coworker decided to do the Rancho Gordo Bean Club. Yes, they have a bean club, just like a yarn club, for all the bean enthusiasts. And so she was telling me about how wonderful these beans were. And I was like, yeah, I can get a bag of beans from Aldi for 69 cents. But I caved. I said, okay, Lori, I will try the beans. So I looked online, and I think the first one I tried was a tiny white bean. And it's got a really funny name, a loop. I'm not even going to try because I know I'm going to mess it up. And Stacy, I know you're cracking up. I'll put them down here because those are by far my favorite. Then I love them so much, I decided to order one of the lentils. This here is the French green lentils. They also have a black caviar lentils. And I'm telling you, these beans are not your ordinary bean. They are so tasty. They're so earthy and wholesome tasting. They cook really quickly. They're tender, but they're not mushy. I love that when I make these lentils, they stay whole. So you've got that wonderful mouth feel. You can actually chew them. They're not mushy in your mouth, and they're just delicious. Rancho Gordo is out of Napa, California, and they basically call themselves an heirloom bean company. So highly, highly recommend them. They have other things like seasonings. They have a pineapple vinegar, which I'm really curious to try. What else have I tried of theirs? Brown rice, as well as wild rice. I think I have those coming in the mail because me and Stacy did an order together. So let me just tell you quickly how I do my beans. I will start out with onions, carrots, and celery. And I usually get that already cut up from Trader Joe's. It's about a 16-ounce plastic jar. And I use about half of that. One half for one pot of beans, another half for a soup later on in the week or something else. My seasonings usually are salt and pepper, of course, olive oil, smoked paprika, cumin, sometimes a dash of cinnamon, sometimes some Italian seasonings. I've been really liking thyme, the taste of thyme here lately. If I'm going with a Mexican flair, I'll do some cilantro, but that's usually just to finish it off at the end. Once I get all the seasonings in, I add the beans, and then I'll cover it usually with a vegetable stock, or if I don't have vegetable stock, I'll use water, and then for further seasoning, I'll use the Better Than Bouillon, another thing. I could do a what's cooking in the kitchen just on the Better Than Bouillon products. They are amazing. If you have not tried them, I won't take a lot of time to talk about them now, but it's not your cubes of bouillon. It is like a bouillon paste, and the flavors are amazing, just absolutely amazing. So yeah, if I put meat in the beans, I usually will put the meat in while the onions, celery, and carrots are sauteing, just so that the meat will take on the flavor of the vegetables. And I just let them cook. On here it says to cook until well done, which is 25 to 35 minutes, which is amazing to me because normally when I buy dried beans from the store, it takes hours to cook them. I don't know if I would put these in a pressure cooker because I'd be concerned they might get mushy. I don't know. But you don't need it. I mean, 25 to 35 minutes is amazing. And I may try to make these today. Cook these up before I run out and run some errands so I know dinner will be ready when we get back. So this is what's cooking this week and for the past several weeks. Highly, highly, highly recommend them. Rancho Gordo. Okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with all the things I wanted to share with you. While I was away, we reached several milestones. And I say we because I could not do this without the support of all of you. So on Instagram, I am well over 2,000 subscribers, and thank you very much for that. That just blows me away. That it's that amount of people who want to share with me in my love of crafting. The podcast itself on YouTube also reached a milestone because we're well over 500 subscribers for that. So thank you again. It just blows my mind. And I know that's like small stuff to some of the more popular podcasts, but 500 people is, for me, it's just like epic. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In honor of that, I want to do a giveaway very soon. I know one of the things that would be included in the giveaway, of course, is yarns. So I'm getting that together. I was gifted something at Maryland Sheep and Wool for a giveaway that I'm very excited to share with you. So I will, the next episode, I will definitely have that together. The giveaway will include one of these, which is a brand new pin from my knit friend Eris Knits, who is Arthella, or I should say Arthella, who is Eris Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. I'll link to it right here at the bottom. She has a brand new pin and it says, "Can we all just knit along?" And it's so pretty. It's pretty good size too. That gives you the idea of how big it is. It's a beautiful green sparkly sweater. Green is Arthella's favorite color. And there's also another shout out I wanted to do. I want to give a shout out to Channy, who is from Channy P's Corner. Channy reached out to me a few weeks back and told me she wanted to gift me one of her new pins. And I had it and now I don't have it. It must be, let me check one other place where it could possibly be. I've been hoarding pins in my friend's supply tote bag. Or I may have just set it down in my craft room. So there again, there's the Eris Knits pin that'll be a part of the giveaway. So pretty. And I will link to Arthella's information below. So this is the pin from Channy. It says podcasting. There's a ball of yarn in the middle that sits on top of a computer. How adorable is that? So if you are like me and you love your podcast, your crafting podcast, then definitely pick yourself up one of these. And she has some other pins, some really, really cute ones in her shop. So cute. So Channy, thank you very, very much for this gift. I really, really appreciate it. There's my frame and fiber pin from Paige of Frame and Fiber, who we got to connect with a little bit at Maryland Sheep and Wool. She is so funny, so just hilariously funny. We had a really, not a lot of time together, but the time we did have together, I was like in stitches the whole time. So yeah, it really made my my Sheep and Wool experience one of the highlights of Sheep and Wool. So yes, so I was talking about the giveaway. So the giveaway will include a bunch of stuff. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'll get those together so that I can share them with you as a appreciation from the bottom of my heart for everything that this crafting community means to me. While I was away, there were so many people who reached out to me just to check and see how me and the family were doing. Some of you gave suggestions on how to cope, how to be gentle with myself. So many people. And I've really been following that advice to just slow down and just allow myself to feel whatever it is I'm feeling and to give myself the time that I need. I'm by no means at the end of the I don't think the process ever ends. I have days where I could be perfectly fine. Like today was a good day, but tonight could be completely different. It's just like that. Mornings and nights are especially difficult. But I'm working my way through, crafting my way through, as always. So thank you so much for joining me today. It feels really good to be back sharing with you my love of crafting. When I started this podcast, the whole purpose was to just celebrate how blessed we are to have something as simple as crafting to help us get through the most difficult times of life. Never in a million years would I have thought that these past few trials would have befallen me and my family. But the principle is still true that I have used crafting definitely as a means to help me to cope. And I just want to encourage you to do the same. So, again, thank you for joining me today. I hope to be back maybe in a couple of weeks with another episode to share with you some of the fun things that I've been doing. But until that time, I wish you and yours peace and happiness. And never forget that every bit of time spent crafting always makes for the best day ever. Bye-bye.